So welcome everybody if you are here and if you're interested in learning about FPP virtual fairs, how they work and participate in demonstration, you are in the right spot. I am Renata Freitas. I am the online events manager, and I'll pass it over to my colleague Sebas and he will get us started.
Thank you very much, Renata, and thank you everybody for joining us today. As Renata just said, I hope you're all doing very well, in good health, and especially during this difficult times, it's a moment to keep that in mind. Before we move on, I would like to remind you there's a Q&A section on the right-hand side of your screen, and that Q&A is where you can write any question you may have during the presentation. We will be replying them at the end. We have set 1 hour for this webinar, but then afterwards, if you would like to stay, we'll be here available to keep replying questions if you have any. So to start with, and I would like to make a brief introduction on who we are at FPP, how we started, and a little bit of our background. I know many of you know us already, but maybe some of you will not know the whole story. So in a way, FPP started as a technology company. We started in '97 in a small garage with the concept of building a website. It was the very early years of the internet, and we built a website that was the second website of its kind in the whole world that was directed only to connect international institutions with students. So technology and innovation is in our DNA because that's how we started. Many of you know right now FPP by the student fairs that we organize, by the solutions we provide. But basically, this all started as a website when we were very small. And from there, we only started organizing student fairs 4 years later, in 2001. So from there, we started doing a lot of things that also were very innovative into that context. For example, in 2003, we were among the first ones to start tracking all the results from the promotion of the fairs that we did. In any fair, you need to promote the students. And what we were doing is track all the results from that using reports. Today, that's very normal. But back in 2003, that was not normal. And we developed a big part of that in the process. For example, Google started with its analytics and all of that in 2006. And then in 2012, we also introduced the concept of smart events. We provided technology. Some of you that have been with us for a long time may remember we were introducing a system to scan student badges with a barcode scanner, a handheld device with a computer. It was not the best system, then got much improved with a mobile app. But all of that, always first adopters of technology always have the hardest time because you need to go for trial and error. So into that concept, one of the main things that we were specialized is to provide quality students. That's one of our most important points, because we understand that for this sector, for international education, unfortunately, not everybody can study overseas. So we needed to focus on those students that really have the opportunity to study overseas, because that's what we want. That's why we listed there as quality students and smart technology. The combination of both will certainly bring more enrollments. Today, FPP is the largest student fair organizer in the world. We organize fairs, not only our own, but also we collaborate with many governments organizing the Study in Spain fairs for the Spanish government, the EduCanada fairs in all Latin America and Africa. We also collaborate with the Australian government, the Irish government, and many others national agencies to boost their presence along different markets. So moving on with what we have to talk today, this is a little bit of the rundown of what we're going to be speaking today. Number one, what virtual fairs are. We're going to compare the virtual fairs with physical events. We're going to talk about how to complement your recruitment strategy with virtual fairs. We're going to talk about the promotion to students, and we're going to do a live demo of both the virtual fair platform. That is the most important part of this presentation, in order to explain you how it works, and then also how to prepare your booth and a little bit of some tips in order to get your booth the best shape for any virtual fair, either we organizing it or anyone else. And then at the end, we're going to do a Q&A. As I said, feel free to write your questions during the presentation on the right-hand side of the screen on the Q&A section. But before that, also on that section, I will be running a poll. I would like to know a little bit of you. And so you have two questions there that you can be replying right now. One, if you have ever participated in a virtual fair organized by any organizer. I would like to know a little bit more of our audience here. And then if you have, how was your experience in this? So thank you for replying that. It's important for you. I see that many of you have never joined a virtual fair, but the more questions, the more answers we have there, the better. So moving on, I would like to explain what are virtual fairs, or at least what is our concept of virtual fairs. And in our way, we see it almost exactly as physical, in-person traditional student fairs. We see it almost exactly the same, with just two main differences. In a physical event, we're talking face-to-face. Here, we're talking in the same way, but virtually. And the second big difference is that a physical event can only take place at a single place on the same moment. The virtual event can take place anywhere at any moment, of course, in any time. And that is the key part of what we had in mind when we wanted to organize fairs, because that was the need. As you can see here in this timeline, I will also like to explain you a little bit of the background on our fairs. We started with virtual fairs in 2012 with a rented platform. We did what was logical to do at that time. When we started in 2001 organizing physical events, we didn't build our own convention center. We didn't build our own hotel. We went there and rented a room in a convention center, in a hotel, in a place that would allow both the students and the exhibitors to meet. So it was the same way when we started in 2012. We rented a platform, and unfortunately it didn't go well. The first fair was in December 2012. We then rented a different platform, and it didn't go well. The platform crashed. Many students trying to log in, many exhibitors trying to log in as well, everybody in discomfort, and that was definitely not a good experience for anyone else. From 2012 to 2015, we had about 10 virtual fairs, all of them with a rented platform. Some went better, and some, again, the platform kept crashing. At that time, as we do with hotels and as we do with any venue, we selected the company, the platform that we thought was the best one. But unfortunately, it was not the one that had all our needs covered. For example, it was not multilingual. So when you run a fair, including language programs, if you want to learn, I would say if you want to learn English, it's not logical for a platform to be in English for the student. Also, this platform didn't allow face-to-face conversations as ours do. And that's why in 2015, we decided to start building our own platform from scratch. We did this with our own people. As I said, FPP is also a technology company, and we have a big part of our team who are IT engineers that basically develop everything that we do. So this took us about 2 years in the process, because this is not a simple process. This is a complicated and costly process in order to build a platform like this. But we included in this platform the 14 years of experience we had collected we had collected in physical events in order to make a platform that was simple, user-friendly, and that would, as we say, combine those 3 points. The smart technology and quality students would do what we are here for, that is basically provide more enrollments to all the institutions that join our events. And then from 2017 on, we had our own virtual platform that can be 100% customized in whatever need we had. We ran a pilot that was in January 2017 with 113 exhibitors. We invited many of our clients to join that event. And at that event, we learned a lot about the platform we built. We got their feedback. That was exactly why this pilot was done, in order to test our platform and to see how everything was doing, and to get more insights from institutions. And then from that pilot to today, we have also been running virtual fairs, always in a concept to complement our physical events. So we did events targeted to specific regions. We did events targeted to specific destinations. Like, for example, we did one study in Europe. We did one for studying in Australia. We did one for English USA, the language school association in the United States. We also host Edu Canada for the Canadian government, Edu Canada virtual fairs in different regions. So all these fairs were targeted to complement the strategy, as we will be speaking later. So summarizing all of this, virtual fairs for us are basically the same as physical events, but in a different venue. And this is exactly what I will move on now, comparing virtual fairs with in-person fairs. And here I have the 3 key points that we have. That is exhibitors on one side. You can't have a fair without exhibitors. That's a must. That's very important to have. You also need the students, and the students will be as any fair. If in a traditional fair you have bad quality students, or you have no students, definitely that is not going to be a good event. And you also need a venue. So those 3 conditions are the ones that summarize in doing a fair. You can't do a fair without students. You can't do a fair without exhibitors. You can't do a fair without a venue for them to meet. That wouldn't be a fair. So the only difference between a physical event and a virtual event is that in case of the venue, instead of going to a hotel, to a convention center, you would do it on a platform. But there, all these small things apply. So for example, if the hotel is located in a bad neighborhood, or the hotel has no easy access with good transportation, or the hotel, the room has problems, there's no air conditioning, or even, I don't know, there's no lights in the room, all that will affect the result of the fair for you. Definitely will not be a good fair. And the same thing with students. If the students have bad quality, or they're not good students, that will affect both a physical event or a virtual event. I see that in the poll that we did, that many of you have not joined a virtual fair before. 72% of who replied have never joined a virtual fair. But those who did join the virtual fair, I am glad that they had a good experience, but I'm concerned about these numbers. I have 69 people who replied that they had a good experience, but 25 people that they replied that they had a better experience. And that is exactly the same way as a physical event. Probably many of you have also been at the physical fair that has not been good, and that is for a lot of reasons. And during this 8-year experience that we have been organizing virtual events, many times I have encountered some people that will say, no, virtual events are not for me. I tried them, they're not good. It's like, well, maybe that event specifically that you were in was not good, but don't judge all Italian food by just one restaurant. So in a summary, virtual events are exactly the same way as physical ones, and that is giving us the same successes and failures of both virtual and in-person fairs. So what you see now, for example, the successes and failures of in-person fairs are very similar to the ones in virtual fairs. If you have a good infrastructure and a good location, that means having a simple and robust interface when you do a virtual event. Having it simple means not a complicated layout. I've seen some virtual fairs where you have a person walking through different booths and with 3D graphics, and sometimes too pretentious to make a visual impact. And in overall, the visual impact is not what it matters. A fair, at least in our sector in international education, is just people. It's people gathered to talk about international education, to talk about their plans. And let me go back to the previous slide, because that is all about the trust that we put here. The trust in a virtual event is exactly the same as in a physical event. Students, parents are going to a fair to make decisions that will impact their whole career, their whole life. And that is why trust is important, because that trust that is created between the organizer of the fair, the exhibitor, and the student, and in many cases the venue as well, is what generates the circle that allows students to make the right decisions. And that's why in this case, many of you have joined to this platform, and you see the student world. The student world is our brand for students, and that is the brand that we use in terms of engaging with students, and they know our brand for organizing the virtual events, for organizing the physical events for the Canadian government, for the Irish government, for the Australian government, etc. So all that trust is what matters at any event, either a physical or a virtual event, and that is very important for the students to consider when they're joining any event. So, and talking about the failures is that if the venue is in a poor location or the infrastructure is not good, that is the same as using a complicated or not user-friendly or an outdated platform for a virtual event. Probably if you used a platform like that for a virtual event and your experience was not good, maybe it was not the students, maybe it was not the logistics, but it was just the platform. And the same thing with logistics. If you go to a traditional fair and your table is breaking down, your booth is not standing straight, and the customer service you receive from the organizers is bad, that will impact your experience in the same level as a physical event. And last but not least, same thing is with the students. I've seen in my experience many times in some companies that are not fair organizers, that maybe they're just a website and they developed into a virtual event. They don't have experience organizing a fair, so sometimes promoting to the students is not done in the right way. And I've seen also some companies offering virtual fairs for very cheap prices. Those very cheap prices will not allow you to promote to a good audience of students. So you can have a great platform, you can have great logistics, great customer service, but if there's no students, then again, your overall experience at a fair, virtual or physical, will be impacted by that. So this is my concept of comparing the two events as being very, very, very similar. I will speak in my next slide what is the main difference that we see in virtual events. That's why you need to or you should complement your strategy with virtual events. We're not talking here about replacing one event with the other. Maybe right now during this travel ban period and during this specific time that we all know that it's going to end. We don't know when, but we know that this period is going to end sometime. Maybe now this is the only option, but on your continuing strategy, you should do this. I am surprised, again, as I said, that 70% of all the people we have here have never joined any virtual event. That is, in a way, a decision that's not correct when you consider your whole strategy promoting to international students. You normally use either you partnership with agents, you visit high schools, you do student fairs, you do this. but virtual fairs should be in that mix. Why? Number one, because virtual fairs have a much wider reach than any other event. Virtual fairs, at least the way we target them, are usually to a region. And that way you can reach multiple students that normally you would not travel to. Because when you travel with visiting high schools or with fairs, you go to main capitals, tier 1 cities, sometimes tier 2 cities, and that's it. You go to just big cities, and that's something that doesn't allow the students that are in remote areas to get that information. For example, my colleague Renata here, she's in a small town in Portugal, 4 hours away from Lisbon. Probably if you go to recruit in Portugal, you will go to Lisbon. You will not go to her city, Braga, in the middle of Portugal, of northern Portugal. And we're talking about Portugal, that is a very small country in Europe. When you consider countries like Brazil, Russia, India, China, Mexico, Argentina, that have huge, the United States, that have huge surfaces, and you go just to the main cities, you're losing the opportunity to reach a lot of students. Just one example, for example, the platform that we're going to show you in a moment is the one that we used on the last Study in Europe fair. And in that fair, we had almost 10,000 students from 43 countries and 1,200 cities. So 1,200 cities could join a virtual event that in this case was for all Latin America, from Mexico below, including the Caribbean, everything. And that allows also for you to try new markets, because probably you don't have the budget to travel to all these countries, but this allows you to, for example, reach in this specific fair, reach students, I don't know, from Ecuador, and maybe Ecuador was not in your strategy to recruit in Latin America, but you can see that Ecuador, you got great students with great questions, and the conversion rate was good. So a virtual fair targeted to a region allows you to reach a wider audience, and also it democratizes for students the access to that information on studying overseas, because those students, maybe they don't have the opportunity to travel to the big cities just to talk with institutions. For you, it's a much lower investment than traditional fairs. Why? Because maybe, yes, the price tag of the events are the same, and in our way, the prices for traditional student fairs and for virtual fairs is about the same. Number one, because of the promotion. The highest percentage of our budget is spent on promoting to students. So that keeps the same. Second, you might not have chairs, you might not have tables, but you do have servers, IT staff, and more people to run these virtual events. They are not, they do have a cost. So, but for they don't have travel, they don't have hotels, they don't have per diems, they don't have ground transportation, they don't have brochure shipping. So all those are costs that you save, and you can attend a virtual event, but a much lower investment than a traditional fair. Even though, again, the price tag is the same, you reach a much wider audience with a reduced investment than a traditional fair. Also, all our target for the sector for international education right now, from some K-12 students to all those ones looking to do an undergrad, and some of those also looking to do a postgrad, are the Generation Z, the ones who were born with technology in their hands, with a mobile device in their hands that is where they interact and where they live. And that's why it's important for a virtual fair platform to be mobile responsive. In our case, the platform that we're going to show you is totally mobile responsive. Also, the websites that we build for students are also mobile responsive. We simply recommend the students not to join the virtual fair on a mobile device, because all the information that we need to put in is so big that it's much better on a desktop, but it works on a mobile device. But most importantly, from you, if you want to reach those students, if you want to reach that generation, you need to speak in their language, and their language is being online and being connected. So it's like asking an 18-year-old to read the newspaper. No, they're not going to do that. And that's why virtual fairs are a great way to get to those students. Also, you get real-time analytics, so you don't need to wait for reports, etc. The same way applies to our physical events, but at least you need to wait for the fair to finish. But the real-time analytics allow you to understand your target very well, and to get instant reporting, and also immediate follow-up. At least with our events, with our virtual events, every single student that goes into the booth will convert as a lead, and you will get the lead from that student with their name, email, etc. And also with a lot more information that will allow you to follow up immediately, like all the transcripts from the chat conversations. If they have seen your brochures, all their actions at the virtual fair, you will have access to that to know how to interact with that student and continuing on that process. So overall, that's why we believe that virtual fairs should be just another complement to your recruitment strategy, and not just be as it's going to be in this case, just an alternative to traditional fairs. They should complement, because even though they are the same, the fact of the virtual fairs reaching a much wider audience allows and justifies the fact of testing new markets and reaching to audiences that you would traditionally not reach with in-person fairs. Then how it's promoted to students. Overall, the same way as we do with traditional fairs. Exactly the same. FPP was among the first ones to fully promote online, and it's the same way we do it here. We talked about the generation said, we don't do flyers at the door of the school. We prefer to reach students in their own flyer that they have in their own hand, because that's where they are. So that's why we promote 100% online on social medias, and with that we can track results very well. So we know where to invest the money and to where the best students are converting. Also, as I will speak later, the online promotion allows you to segment very well who you want to see that. And yes, at the virtual events, we also screen students the same way we do it at traditional fairs. And we reject in this promotion about 35% of the registrations. This means that it's more expensive for us to promote, because we end up paying for people that will register for an event and will then say, no, I don't want you, in a way. So that is more complicated, that is more expensive, yes, but that's what we need, because overall we're here to give you results. As I said at the beginning, we're here for more enrollments with a combination of a smart technology and quality students. And that quality of students pays off in generating more results. That's what we are here for. So our screening is done in two ways. Number one, on the segmentation. That's basically what we do in order to get the quality to reach a certain profile, and then with the online registration. So first, in the segmentation, we decide, okay, we want our advertising to reach this, and that audience. And then on the online registration, basically every single student needs to fill in a form where we ask them a lot of questions. And depending on the answers to these questions, we either we segregate these students by the ones who qualify, who get the invitation immediately, and we insist on these students to attend the event, either virtual or physical. And then those students who don't qualify, we leave them as pending. And those students, in some cases, they can attend the physical event, but here on virtual events, they can't, because those students don't get the invitation. Of course, the student can lie in the questions that they fill in and they can go through, yes, but this is a filter that we get in order to improve and have at the event the best quality possible of students. Also, it's important, we don't do like big promotions, or I remember some virtual fairs in the past, like making a raffle of an iPad. It's like register and win a scholarship, register and win an iPad. No, that's not what we do, because again, that will impact the quality of the students. And overall here, that's the most important point, because what institutions and what want is more enrollments. So now I will pass it on to Renata in order for her to show a little bit of our virtual fair platform before we move on. But in this case, I wanted to highlight three very important points. As you can see in FPP's logo, what we mentioned here is we innovate, you see results. That has been our main objective for a long time. We are based, as I said at the beginning, our technologies is part of our DNA. So when we built this platform, we had three key concepts in mind. Number one, to make it very, very, very simple. Simple for everybody, for exhibitors, for students. We didn't want to complicate with too much graphics, with we know in many of the countries we reach, the internet is not the best, so more graphics mean more internet bandwidth and more complicated. So we wanted to keep it simple. Number two, user-friendly and easy. Again, not complicating the possibility of finding the information. And some of the virtual fair platforms that are out there for rental, it's like one size fits all. It's one single platform that they use either for international education or for a car show or for a pharmaceutical fair. It's not the same. Here, we built a platform that was 100% conceived for international education, considering to replicate as much as possible all that we have in a physical event. And number three, and very important for us, was for this to be very robust, was for this to be stable in terms of technology, because at least with the experience we had renting a platform, the platform crashed and nobody could log in. So it was like having a convention center with the doors closed and everybody in the street trying to get in. So robustness in this platform is also very, very important. And that's why we focused the building the platform in these three key points. So Renata, off to you.
All right. Thank you, Sebastian. Hi, everybody. I'm going to just share my screen, and then you'll be able to see what I see, and then I can show you our beautiful platform. So let's pretend I am an international student, and I was a good student, so I signed up for the event. I filled my profile, and I was selected to go to the event. So at the day of the event, I received messages to remind me of the event, because I'm a forgetful student. You know how things go. They forget. And here I am. I signed in. I have my password, and here I am. I come into the lobby, and this can be customized to whatever we want. This was a study in Europe event, so this is what it looks like. Because I could be an ESL student, there's always a possibility of having the platform in different languages. So I'm Anna, so I have it in Spanish. So, but for those of you who don't speak Spanish, so we're going to look for English, and we're going to switch up so everybody can understand and we can move on. All right. So once I'm in the lobby, it's pretty straightforward. The fair can be seen in Pavilions or Exhibitors. So I'm going to go look at the Pavilions, check it out, right? So this event was segmented in different pavilions. So language, MBA, online, postgrad, just different sections, right? And a school can be in more than one pavilion as well, because as you know, some schools offer language, and they offer postgrad, and they offer short-term programs or online classes. So there's lots to offer. So let's look and see. It says to me that some of these schools are offline. So they have a little red button over here. All right. Oh, I see a green one. So I'm going to go visit the University of Bologna, because I heard they're good and they're in Italy, and I want to check out a postgrad over there. All right. So once we arrive at the booth, we have some information to look through, because I'm not going to be one of those students that just come in and start speaking directly with the representative. Even though they did greet me, they were very nice, I'm going to first check their booth out. So they're going to have, we can look at the booth and they have a little bit about the exhibitor. So short description of what they are, what they do, what they offer, where they're located. All right. And there's some pictures as well, so I can check it out. And some it can be albums. You can put as many pictures. There's some videos over here. And you've noticed everything has a little star and it says favorite. It's just like Facebook. You can favorite something. So I really like these videos, but I don't want to spend all my time here watching videos. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to favorite this international program catalog and I'm going to look at it later. So think about it as putting this brochure on my virtual backpack for looking at it later. Right? So moving on. So when a student comes in, just like you guys saw, there's a message that pops out, right? It already says, hello, Anna. So because the system knows I'm Anna. And then I'm going to start talking to the representative. Oh, hello. Let me ask let me see if they offer MBA. You offer an MBA. And it's nice to highlight that this is a private conversation that I am having with the representative, right? It's just me and Giovanni right now, and he's starting a video audio conversation. I'm gonna pick it up right over here. It's not giving me another window somewhere else to go and log on, and I can see the representative and start speaking to him and have a lengthy, good conversation about MBAs in Italy. Thank you.
Hello, Renata.
So all of this conversation over here, it's going to be recorded for, I can see later as a student, and the representative can see it as well. Okay, so if I'm, thanks for coming. They're actually nice too. Look at that. If I'm not sure what school I'm looking for, I can always do the search through this search bar. So I can search by the name of the school, but I said, Mike, if I didn't do my homework ahead of time before the event, I don't know what school I'm looking for, but maybe I know I want to do a language program or an MBA or an online program. So let's broaden our search. Or maybe I know I'm in business and I want to look for a business program. Or maybe I really know I want to go and study in Ireland. So I'll put Ireland here and we'll look through location. So there's different ways that you can search for what you want to study. Even if you don't know what you want, well, that's the case with most students. You can do that here as well. It's pretty straightforward.
Perfect.
Okay, and now we're gonna go. Yeah.
I'm gonna share my screen on my side. Let me know, Renata, when you're seeing it.
Yeah. Sure thing.
So I'm gonna show. No, you, Renata, you're gonna show the other part.
I'm gonna show you what the institution sees, right? Because we saw what the student sees. Now we're gonna look at what the student sees. Sorry about what the institution sees. So look at this is Giovanni over here. This is Giovanni over here. So you can see they can do online, busy, or offline as a status. So they're online if they want to accept students. They're busy if they're talking to too many students at one point and they say, okay, enough. And they're offline if they just want to go for a cup of coffee, for instance. The next tab over, we're going to look at chat students. So that's what really is important to us. So these are all of the students that were either came through the booth or are online on the booth. So we were talking to Anna, which was me. So, and the interesting thing, and there's a little bit of a cheat sheet over here. So we know that Anna is looking for education, and her interest is international relations and conflict resolution. So that's a cheat sheet for the recruiter to kind of start up a conversation or kind of direct a conversation to a program that they already have. So it's very straightforward. Next tab over, we're going to go to, we can actually transfer as well. I'm sorry. So say Anna's interested in MBA and Frederica is the one that knows everything about MBA. So I can transfer Anna over to Federica, and the conversation that I had, that was had with her, can be transferred over to Federica. So she knows what as a representative, what you already told Anna, and they continue on from the point you stopped. So that's actually pretty handy. And so we're going to go look at what does it look, a video chat looks like from the institution side. But you're calling me, so I'm not going to be able to pick up.
No, but because it's in the same area.
It is in the same area, but you're going to call the student and they're going to pick up. It's important to highlight that only institutions are able to initiate audio and video calls. Just because we've tried the other way around where students were calling institutions, and that gets really messy. So only institutions can start. So then the next tab over is chat team. So you can talk to your team if you need to leave or you take a break. You just talk amongst yourself. Help desk. It's important if something is really, if you have any glitches or anything, or if you want to say something really nice to us, we appreciate those comments as well. You can come and add those comments at the help desk. It's FPP is there for you before the event, during the event, and after the event. We are there all the time. And the next tab over, we're going to go to visitors. So we can look at, we had two visitors, and look at it. Underneath it says 20% match and 60% match to this school. That means whatever the student is interested in is 60% of a match for what we offer. So that you might want to really engage in conversation with Anna because she might be a very, very good candidate. Let's move over to stats, just so you can look at it. These are rough statistics that you're going to get about who's been to your booth during the event. As Sebastian said, you will get a lot more information after, once you download your leads, but this is just so you have an idea of what's going on in your booth. You can even know what brochures were favored, what videos were watched or weren't. So this is for your own information while things were going on. I think this is as far as I'll go for now. And I'll hand over to Sebastian.
Thank you very much, Renata, and that's perfect. And I will move on with a question that I have already seen in the question section, but it's next in the presentation. It's about building your booth. So building the booth is very simple, as I'm sharing here on my screen. Many of you probably already have access to the FPP Hub. The FPP Hub is where we basically concentrate all the information about everything that it has to do with FPP, from registering to upcoming events, to your past event data and leads, to your invoices, your FPP points, etc. So here on my upcoming events, if you're registered for a virtual fair, you will have the opportunity to click booth setup. And here is very, very simple. The first information you need to put is the booth name. That's how students are gonna see your booth. You're gonna be able to load your representatives just with the name, position, email, and the languages they speak. This is important because, as Renata explained, the platform is multilingual, and it will try to match automatically those students that, for example, speak Spanish, which with any representative that speaks Spanish as well, and like that. Then you will be able to select the booth model, and it's very, very simple. For example, let's suppose I select this one, and I'm gonna upload booth images. So first, the one for the logo, and I have here on my screen, I have this one for the logo, it's just we need to resize it and fit it. And for example, I click confirm, and that is my logo there already. And then I'm going to select a different image for the banner. Same way, you can resize it and select only the area that you want. I'm going to center it there and confirm. And that way is how you build the image for your booth. I'm going to cancel now, no need to save. Then videos, you can upload new videos from YouTube, Youku, or Vimeo. So you need to simply put the URL for the videos. Same thing with photo albums. You simply click on create a new album and you drag and drop all the pictures here. And last but not least, brochures. You simply click on new brochure. You put a title. The title is very important. I will speak about that in a moment. And drag the brochure here. It will upload and it will be ready. And we also have a nationalities block because the platform is intelligent in knowing where the student is coming from based on their IP. So let's say, for example, your institution does not accept any specific nationality. So you can block it here by choosing the nationality you don't want. And that way, your booth will not even be displayed to students from that country. So you save your booth. After saving, you will be able to preview your booth exactly in the same way that the students are going to see it. And that's it. So all in all, in half an hour, you're going to have, if you have all your materials ready in hand, in half an hour, you can have your booth ready and built. So let me move on with some tips on how to build your virtual booth for, and again, for any fair. One important point, the same way that you build your booth or you decorate your booth at a physical event where you put your banner, you put your tablecloth, your nice brochures, you keep them organized, the same effort is needed for a virtual event. Because something that we normally say here is like, and everywhere else, it takes two to tango, and we can do our part, but also you as a participant of a virtual event, you also need to do your part. And part of that is, of course, decorating your booth in the best way, uploading the best information possible, and also then after the event, following up with the students in the best way possible. So one very important thing for virtual events is being short, simple, straight to the point. Like some descriptions are too long. Students will eventually not read very long descriptions. It's like the shorter, the better, and being straight to the point. The same thing with brochures. Sometimes I see institutions just loading the whole bunch of brochures without any clear names, like general brochure. General brochure doesn't tell me anything. It's like you need to try to keep the information to be found as easy as possible, because here the main difference from a virtual event to the physical events is that the students is going to be looking at the brochures on their own. So whatever you put as the title is very important for them to have it. And also a list of programs is a must. Sometimes this list of programs starts is complicated to find, and then on your conversations you will have the students asking, like, do you have this program, do you have that, do you have, and it's much easier when the first brochure is the list of programs you offer. As many institutions have a list of programs in their banners at physical events, the same way here. Then videos are very important, but not only that corporate, nice, beautiful video that you have on YouTube, but also videos from you talking with the same blurb that you would do on a physical event. Just get your mobile device, get someone to record that for you in your university and upload that, because the students will get that same content that you would do at the traditional fair and will get the same information. So sometimes you can start the chat conversation, a text conversation. The student is interested in this program. Okay, you tell them, okay, go to see this video. That way you take them out from the chat and you make them see the video, and then they can come back to you and continue chatting with more questions for you not to be spending. These virtual fairs are exactly the same way as physical fairs. They have a duration. They start and they finish. And in order to maximize your time at the virtual event, it would be the same way as that. It's like, okay, go see this video while you speak with another student. And then the photo albums should also be organized, not just throwing pictures there. It's like, okay, if you have photos on this, on that, just try to organize it as much as possible in the albums for keeping that organized as much as possible. So with this, we're almost getting to the end. Let me stop sharing my screen. And this is something I wanted to add here because I believe it's very important for the moments that we are having. Intelligence is the ability to adapt to change. This is a quote by Stephen Hawking. And that's exactly what's happening right now with the world. Adapting to change right now is a need. There's a need for transformation that we cannot let go by, that we cannot overlook and see what's happening. And that the world, what the world is teaching us is that's changing continuously. From 20 years before, the world was not the same. A month ago, the world was not the same. And this changes force everybody. As your institution is changing, as you're changing the way you teach classes, as you're changing the way that people work, as we're changing everything, it's very, very, very important in this modern world to be resilient and to adapt to change in the best way. Because if we don't adapt, then that's the big problem that we can have there. So before moving to the Q&A that I see, we have many questions here. So Jack, I will welcome you here as well. If you can read questions out, I would like to tell you that we from FPP, we also have some virtual events coming up. Some directed for Latin America, some directed for Asia, China, and the Indian subcontinent. So reaching some for Africa, North America, coming down during the pipeline through this year and next year. So if you want any more information about our virtual events, please feel free to contact me or contact Renata, and we'll be more than happy to help you in that process. So going now to questions, Jack, if you want to read some questions out for us, we'll be glad to reply.
Sure, thank you, Sebastian.
And if anyone decides to leave right now, just again, thank you very much for joining us today. And we hope this webinar was useful for you. And again, stay safe. That's the most important.
Thank you, guys. Sebas, one of the questions that's been popping up quite frequently is people are asking how many representatives an exhibitor can have, and also how many active conversations can they have at one time?
Okay. Renata, you want to take that?
Yeah, I'll take that one. You can have 5 representatives in your booth at a time. Each one of them can have up to, I'd say, 10 to 15 private conversations with students, typed conversations with students. Some people say 10 is too much. Some people say 15 is too much. It will depend on how fast you can type. Or how slow of a typist you are. So it doesn't really matter. You can always put yourself as busy. So if you have 10 and you think that's enough, you can put yourself as busy, and the next student that comes into your booth will go to one of your 4 other colleagues in your booth. It's important to say that you can only have one audio and video call at a time, but that's about it. Hopefully that answers that.
Thank you, guys. And can you provide a little bit of information on the screening process? How are students qualified? And what do we sort of define as quality students?
Okay, I'll take that one, Jack. Let me go back to the screen that we have here. That varies according to the event. We have a set of questions, and those questions allow us to identify. It's not done one by one, of course, is the system that considers the replies to all these different questions. So, for example, their current level of education, which kind of program they are willing to do, how much money they have for the program, who is going to pay, in which country they are interested. So that's an algorithm that we have developed that combines the replies to those questions and guide us that, for example, if a student is looking to do a language program in this country with this investment, that is okay. And if the student is looking to a different kind of program, and it won't be okay. So it's an algorithm that takes a lot of things into consideration. And we believe we have worked it out the best way in order to, again, maybe the one student that is quality for one institution is not quality for other institution, but we also consider the exhibitor mix that we have at any given fair, trying to find the best way. The point of the screening system is not having students that will simply take your time, your energy, and will not even convert, because we know, unfortunately, in many of the countries that we operate and many fairs operate, there's a lot of people willing to study overseas, but will never have the opportunity to do so because of financial means. So that's basically it.
Thank you, Sebas. And on that note as well, can you share a little bit of information on how the events are marketed to reach these students?
Basically, the marketing is 100%, as I said, online. We promote the virtual events the same way we promote the physical events. So mostly via social networks, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We also use Google a lot. We use different marketing tools online. We cannot say, of course, the exact mix, but what we can say is that we track absolutely all the marketing that we do. So that allows us to know very well what gives results and what does not give results, and which are the results for each kind of student. So that way we are able to invest in whatever gives us results and not invest in what doesn't give results. It's like the tracking of results, as it is important for you, it is very important for us. Let's say I want to lose weight. Well, I have some weights. Number one, I will be doing more exercise. I should eat less, eat better. But if I don't go on a scale every morning and track my progress, I will not be able to know if I'm losing weight or not. So it's exactly the same here. When we promote, we need to track what results is that giving in order to be able to keep investing in what gives results and not on what doesn't.
Okay, great. And just continuing with promotion, we've had a couple of questions regarding what information exhibitors can share with students beforehand. So essentially, I guess, what information would be available on the website for students before?
So normally that is all the information. Every time we host a virtual fair or a physical fair, this applies the same, we build a website for the students. In this website, all the exhibitors are displayed, and in this, the basic information that you provide is what they will see. That is basically which kind of programs you offer, undergrad, postgrad, etc. A short description. You can also include a video, and all this is available on the student website for them to start engaging with the exhibitors before the event. So that is a must of every single website we have. And then, of course, depending on the event that we organize, we have different websites. Let me see if I can share my screen quickly. Let me open this. Let me share my screen again. So, for example, this is one website that we use for the last virtual fair we organized on January 22nd. So this is the website for students, where we had exhibitors. And as I said, for example, here from Université Laval, there is a video, there is the programs that are offered, the description, in this case, in both English and French. So this is how the students see and can start engaging with the institutions before an event.
Thank you, Sebas. And in terms of upcoming events, we've had a couple of questions with regards to which kind of institutions can participate, and if there will be any specific events, say for business schools or high schools.
Renata, do you want to take that?
Yeah, we have, because of what's going on right now, we're keeping fairs. We've added additional virtual fairs to the mix. So, and they are for anybody to participate. So worldwide institutions are welcome to participate. We are focusing on different areas. So we have an event that's focused on India subcontinent. We have an event that's focused on Chinese students, one for Asia, if I'm not mistaken, South Asia, and one for Latin America. That's for anybody from anywhere in the world. Any institution can join us for that event.
Yeah. We also have 3 Edu-Canada fairs that are only for Canadian institutions. And then later on the year, we have one, for example, that it's the same one that we showed, that the study in Europe. So this is for European institutions only. We have another one on studying in the United States. This is only for American institutions. So in order to get more information about that, I welcome you to contact us, and we will be able to send you all the information about the upcoming events.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Sebas and Renata. We've also had some questions on how universities would receive the leads after the events, and what information they would receive. Do they receive the contact details of all students, or is it just certain students?
So every student that clicks on your booth while you are at the event, even if they didn't interact with you, right? Even if they didn't actually start a typed conversation with you, that student is going to be recorded as have visited you. And then because you have your account with us on our FPP hub, you're able to download those leads, all that information of those students after the event. We'll send an email saying that those leads are ready for you, and then we'll help you get them as well if you need some assistance. And then you can go there and download an Excel spreadsheet with all that information. And this is the information from that form from the beginning, from when they register. So their name, their last name, email, what they're currently studying, what they want to study, and all of that information is shared with you on an Excel spreadsheet. It's very complete. We don't provide the information from everybody that's attended, just for the people that visited your booth.
Thank you, guys.
Sorry, Jack. Adding one more thing to that. Also, all the transcripts are in that information. So all the chat transcripts are also in that information that are recorded. The only thing that we don't record is the audio video conversations. So if you chatted via text, that will be stored, and you will have that as a guide, but not the audio video. And also, as I showed in the platform, you can rate the students with stars, and you can also enter a comment that will be also private just for you. The students won't see that information when you fill in the description for them.
Okay, thank you, guys. Another question: do we have statistics on student interests by region, in terms of what they're looking for? Also, how many students on average might attend a virtual fair, and also how many institutions might attend?
We do have statistics about that. I will welcome whoever made that question to get in touch with Renata for her to send that information. We don't get exact information about interest, etc., for one region. What we have, every time we do an event, we get a picture of the audience. So let's say, as I was saying, last Study in Europe virtual fair, we had 10,000 students registering, some of those not accepted, some of those yes accepted. 1,400 students visiting the fair from 1,200 cities, and those interests. So that is a picture of that event specifically, and we can have the report and the interest from that event specifically. That doesn't mean that is something of the whole market, because we always promote the events according to the exhibitor mix that we have. So if we have more exhibitors offering one kind of program, we try to get more students on that kind of programs, etc. So normally the exhibitor mix is about the same in most of the events that we organize, but that, again, those statistics are not to be considered as the market statistics, just a picture from that event.
Thank you, guys. We have a question here from Bruno, who's asking if our fall 2020 student fairs will be virtual.
No, so far all these events that we have planned, because of coronavirus, we had to cancel all the events that were planned until September. But so far, all the events from September on are 100% confirmed, and only time will know what will happen with those. But so far, all the September 2020 events, October, all the second semester ones from September on are fully confirmed. We have, yes, added some virtual events, as Renata said, during this time. Some of those events were already pre-planned, and some events were added to complement this recruitment strategy while these times don't allow anyone to travel.
Okay, thank you, Sebas. And we've also had a couple of questions regarding pricing of the virtual fairs.
Mm-hmm.
So our price for the participation of a 4-hour event, the cost is anywhere from $1,890 to up to $2,500. It will depend on what event you're participating. Then the cost will change. I would highlight that we do have early bird specials, which means it's a little bit cheaper to sign up earlier rather than later. So if you want to take advantage of those, you can contact us. But that's sort of the price range where a participation to a 4-hour event is.
Thank you, Renata. I'm just trying to spot if there's any more questions that we can run through.
Also, another very important point here, Renata, that we didn't mention, but there's also a possibility that we are offering to some governments and to some national agencies to rent this virtual platform in order for them to organize their own events. As we do the EduCanada events, there's also the opportunity if some national agencies or consortiums would like to rent the virtual platform to organize their own event. That is also a possibility. So they can contact us in case that you're interested in renting the platform, and maybe you can take care of the promotion, etc., and just using our platform as a venue, as I said.
Okay, thank you. We've also had a couple of questions going back to representatives in the booth, asking how they can, if there's a way to differentiate university representatives from perhaps alumni, or if they have people who are specialized in a particular area.
Yeah, when you are putting in your 5 participants, you're going to add their name, their titles, as in what they do, what languages they speak, and so that's how you kind of differentiate who is who. But for instance, if they did bump into someone that didn't want to speak to an alum, they wanted to speak to an MBA, the representative for the MBA, for instance, the alum can always transfer that student to the person they actually wanted to talk to, and vice versa. So it's fairly easy to transfer students from one representative to the other.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Renata. We've also had a couple of questions with regards to, can agencies participate in the events?
Yeah, depending on the event, we're welcome to speak with them, and depending what they offer. So yes, they can contact us, and we can get in touch about that.
Thank you.
I see, sorry, Jack, I see one question here that I would like to address personally. Katerina is asking us, do students have to pay to participate? No, never, ever. We never charge students for any of the events we organize, not for the physical events, for the live sessions we do, for the webinars, for the virtual fairs. Students never have to pay anything to join any of the events. The idea is to allow them the opportunities to get in touch with international institutions, and they never pay.
Thank you, Sebas. And we've also had several questions throughout the duration asking how people can get the recording of the webinar.
We'll be posting this recording to our YouTube channel, the FPP YouTube channel. I saw a question earlier that was asking that if FPP owns the Student World, and just to be very clear on that, when you were seeing the Student World brand, that is the brand that we use for students. So students don't know us as FPP. Students know us with our student-facing brand, which is the Student World, and it used to be EduFindMe. So you can also maybe recognize that brand. It used to be EduFindMe. We made a brand, a rebranding to the Student World. That is a brand we acquired a few years ago. So this recording will be posted to, if you have registered, we will be sending the recording to everyone that has been in the webinar today. And we will also be posting this to our FPP YouTube channel and also publishing this on our FPP social medias. So, not sure, Jack, if there's any other question out there, and if anyone wants to add any other question on the Q&A section.
There is one or two that are perhaps a bit more specific. We have a question from Ariadne, who's asking if it's possible to meet Canadian trade commissioners at any of the upcoming events.
As a student, maybe yes, maybe not, depending on the region. Some trade commissioners are joining and some trade commissioners are not. But ideally, if you can contact me for that, I will be able to point you in the right direction on that.
Thank you, Sebas. We've also had some questions about the virtual backpack and how long students are able to access that for.
Yeah.
It's their, yeah, for sure. That's their account with us. Their student, their profile with us has all of their information as a student, what events are coming to their city, what events they signed up for, or the events they've been before. That information is right there for them, and it will be there as long as they need.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we've gone through the majority of questions. Many of them are covering similar topics.
Okay.
But we will be getting in touch with all the participants, and if there are any follow-up questions that we haven't answered, please feel free to email us at talk2@fppedu.media, and one of our representatives will be able to help out there.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, all in all, thank you very much for everything, for joining us today, for learning about our virtual fair platform and learning a little bit from us about virtual events. I want to thank my colleagues Renata for joining me here today, and also Jack. This is what FPP is about. We didn't have to adapt to the working from home. Everybody at FPP, we're a team of great people that I would like to thank, because this company would not be possible with all its people. And this team is entirely based from home. So Jack right now is in Italy, Renata in Portugal, and I am right now in Argentina. So want to thank my whole team, especially Renata and Jack that are here today.
Thanks, everybody.
And of course, thanking you all for joining us today. So thank you very much. We'll be in touch with you, or feel free to connect with us later on via email for any other question.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.